Okay, so let's go ahead and put together our little gate here. And we have these two pieces. And we've got these panels here that I've already embossed with just some brown ink. And I've embossed with a like a stone texture, and I've also inked these with a brown ink. So what we're going to do is we're going to put one of these panels on each of these little areas here, each of these sections. Okay, so just nicely put our glue on there, and we want to go ahead and just try to center these as best as we can. Make sure there's a nice even border going all the way around, just like that. And I figured put a little gate together, because every awesome haunted house has an equally awesome little gate that everyone has to pass through to enter if they're brave enough. Okay. And this thing should go together pretty easily. Of course, this is an optional piece. Definitely want to create a little gate for this haunted house. Just going to make it look that much cooler in your little display. And maybe a little biased here, but I definitely think this is the coolest haunted house I've seen as far as SVG files are concerned. Okay, we also want to make sure that we go ahead and fold everything at the little score marks here, just to get everything nice and prepped for our assembly. Okay, so you're just going to repeat the same process with the other half here, because there's two sides to the gate. Okay, the other piece is identical. So just get all your panels on and get everything nice and creased. We'll go ahead and assemble that in just a second here. And I'm just going to repeat the same process here, and then we're going to move on to putting our little panels on the actual fence itself. And we can go ahead and put this guy together. Okay, now one other thing here is these little black triangles, and we're going to put a little bit of glue on the back of these, and these are going to go, these are going to go right here, nice and centered, just like that. Okay, so you want to put all 8 of them in place, and then you can start working on the actual fence itself. The fence itself just has one little panel on each side here, so we'll get those in place, and then you can start constructing this thing. This thing's pretty straightforward to put together. Really easy, but it'll definitely add a cool feel to the house. So just get that nice and centered there on your little fence there. Okay, so go ahead and put the other 4 in place there, and we'll start working on the actual gate itself. Okay, so for the actual gate itself, we're going to glue these back to back, but we're not going to glue the little tabs here. The tabs are actually going to get glued to the inside of the little stone structure. So you want them back to back, and you want the tabs kind of sticking out like that. Okay, so you want to go ahead and get your glue on the actual fence here. Got to work kind of quick, because There's a lot of little detail here. Do your best to get as much glue as you can on the little nooks and crannies here, kind of like that, and then just sandwich this together. You can lay this out flat. Just make sure you don't put any glue on the tabs themselves. Okay, so just like that. Try to make sure that you've got it nice and aligned before it completely sets. Okay, and then this is going to be the front, this is going to be the back, this is going to be the left side, this is going to be the right side. Okay, and that's important because we have little panels that only go on one side. Okay, so go ahead and get this one ready to go and get your glue on it. Just make sure you don't put any glue on the actual tab, as I mentioned before. Try to get some glue out to the edge and the little corners there. And then just line that up as precisely as you can. And just sandwich it together. Kind of run your finger along the corners there, along the edges, just making sure that you've got everything nice and aligned. There we go. Okay, so there is our right side, and there's our left side. Now we have this little panel piece that's going to get glued on like that. And this one's going to get glued on like that. Okay. So go ahead and grab this piece, and I am going to just do a series of dots all the way down, especially in the little corners and the edges, just like that. And it helps to lay this down flat. Do your best to make sure that you've got it nice and centered. Just like that. There we go. Just rub off any little bits of glue that may have smeared out. Okay, so that's what that should look like. Let's do that one more time here. And I can go ahead and begin putting this thing together. And I probably want to get really tiny dots on here if possible. And then if you do get too much glue on there, just spread that a little. Spread that out, spread it thin. Get that nice and centered there. There we go. Okay. All right, so that's done. Now there's a little lock on this. Okay, and it's 3 layers. We're going to take this layer and just glue it to our olive colored layer. I did ink both of these pieces. And you want to just match up the little keyhole perfectly. Just squeeze that together. And then we're going to glue this entire piece onto the black shadow layer. This little layer here. Just like that. Squeeze that down. Okay. And then when we're done, when we actually have this thing all put together, we're going to glue it to one side of the actual gate. You can pop dot that too. Just want to make sure that it's nice and centered there so that this tip is kind of right in the middle there. Okay. So, you know what, we can actually going to do that now just to get it on there. Just a little bit of glue right there. And again, just make sure that you get it nice and centered. There we go, just like that. Okay. All right, so this part's all done here. We can go ahead and begin assembling our little tower. Now, actually, before we do that, and again, it doesn't matter which side is which. These pieces are completely symmetrical. We're gonna feed this up like that, and we're gonna glue this to the interior here. Okay, so I'm just gonna lay this flat and put some glue on this tab here. Okay, and just fold that over. Make sure that it's nice and flush at the bottom. Okay, and then go ahead and flip it over. Get a little glue on there, just fold that over. Okay, there we go. Had a little bit of glue squirt out there. That's okay though. There we go. Okay, so you kind of get the idea there. And what we can do next is we can glue this tab to its neighbor, just like this. And eventually what we're going to do is we got these little crosses here. We're going to put those on a pipe cleaner and feed them through the top. And they should just stay in there pretty much on their own. If you want to put a little bit of hot glue on there, you totally can. Okay, so we're just going to continue on down the line here. Get our glue right on there. Just follow that natural angle, that little pyramid angle. Okay, and we can move on to this tab here. Spread our glue out and close that up, just like that. And just hold that in place. Let that set. Okay, and then you can go ahead and close this whole piece up. We're going to put glue on this tab here. Get some of that out to the edge. And just spread that out. Okay. Tuck those tabs in. Go ahead and close that up nicely, as well as the top there. Okay, now I'm just using a dowel here to push out that part there a little bit. Okay, and I'm just going to close this up, get it nice and tight. There we go. Okay, so there is one side of our gate, just like that. And let's just do the same thing on the other side here. So we're just gonna feed this in, just like that. Go ahead and lay that flat. As long as you push this thing up all the way, up to here, it should pretty much line up properly at the bottom. So just get a little bit of glue on this tab here and just fold it over. Okay. And then you can go ahead and flip that. Get our glue on the next tab here. Kind of went a little heavy there. Wipe that off and just push that down. Okay, so there is the other side of our gate. And again, I'm just going to go ahead and connect the tabs. Okay, move on to the next one here. Get our glue on the tab, try to get it out to the edge here. And get that connected. Okay. And almost done here. Here we go. All right, and just like before, I'm going to go ahead and close this up. Get that nice and centered, nice and perfectly aligned. You kind of push in from the inside. You should be able to get your fingers in there, no problem. And then just push this closed up here at the top. And I'll squeeze that down here a little bit more. Okay. All right, so there is our little gate. All right, now we do have some little grassy elements that we're going to go ahead and glue down to the bottom here, like that. Okay, so just go ahead and get your glue onto the grass here, just a little bit, goes a long way. Okay, and just right at the angles where you kind of want to start, make sure it's flush with the bottom, and then just push that down. Just like that. Okay, had a little bit of glue stick out there, but that's okay. You can either rub it off or let it dry. It'll dry clear, so not a big deal. Probably just gonna use my fingernail to rub some of it out. Okay, so there's your little grass element. Same thing on the other side. Just go ahead and get your glue on the back. Get that glued into place. Nice and flush with the bottom. Oops. Okay. So there we have our little gate, and all that's left to do here is create our little crosses. Okay, so you'll notice here that we have two with holes cut into them. Those are going to be in the front. We've got a red one. That's going to go like this, and then this one is a back layer, and that is the back layer that we're going to sandwich our little pipe cleaner to. So you want to go ahead and take the one with the little hole and glue it to the top of the one without a hole that's a different color than the one with a hole, just like that. Okay. Just like that. All right. And then you don't really need much. What we're going to do is we're going to take this pipe cleaner and hot glue it to the back here. We're going to sandwich this one on top of it. Then we're going to take this and poke it through the top. Okay, and that's going to create a little cool little cross element. So I'm just going to cut off maybe about that much. That's about 3 inches. Okay, and just going to pop that right on there. grab a little dot of hot glue. That's the only thing about the hot glue is those little strings. Okay, so get that right on there. Let that get a good hold, just like that. And then you can either glue or hot glue this little backing piece on here, just to kind of clean this up and finish it off. I'm going to go ahead and use my hot glue here, just because we've got a little bit of thickness here on the on this piece because of the pipe cleaner. Okay, so just pop that right on the back. Just push down, get it to stick really well. Okay, and then there's a tiny little hole at the top of this that you're going to feed this through. Just going to shove it right in there. Okay, and you can add some hot glue to this if you really feel that you need to. I think it'll hold up pretty well on its own without having to hot glue it down. I think that's fine. Okay, so there is the first one. Let me show you this process one last time here. I'm just going to get a little dab of hot glue right in the center of this thing. Maybe down a little bit. And just pop our little pipe cleaner right on there. And cut off a little bit. Oops. Okay, and then just add a couple dots on this whole thing here and sandwich the back part right on there. Just push nice and hard. Okay, and pick off some of those little strands that get left behind and just pop it right through the top. And your gate is all done.
Stay on top of all things Dreaming Tree and engage with us today. Get the latest news and enter in our giveaways on Facebook. Get inspired by following us on Pinterest. Be the first to see our new product launches on Instagram. Do you prefer Twitter? Yep, we're there too. Watch our beautiful product trailers and assembly tutorials on YouTube. For more information, visit www.3dsvg.com. Live, craft, love, and dream.